Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into something truly incredible, an ancient blueprint for skin health, straight from one of Ayurveda's most important texts, the Charak Samhita. We're going to unpack its chapter on Kustha, which is basically a master guide to dermatology from thousands of years ago. It's fascinating stuff.
So first things first, what in the world is Kustha? The name itself tells you so much. It comes from a Sanskrit phrase, kushnati vapuh, which means something that extracts from the body to change how it looks. Right away, that tells you we're not just talking about some surface-level rash. To these ancient physicians, a skin condition was a sign of something being pulled out from deep within, a sign of a much bigger systemic problem.
All right, to really get our heads around this, we're going to walk through 4 key ideas. First, we'll look at the fundamental principles of skin health in Ayurveda. Then, we'll explore the amazing way they classified 18 different types of Kustha. After that, we'll see their holistic approach to healing it all. And finally, we'll try to connect some of this ancient wisdom to the modern day.
Okay, so before we can even talk about treatment, we have to understand the cause. And Ayurveda's perspective here is just fundamentally different from how we might think about dermatology today. It all starts with the body's core energies.
And that brings us to this huge concept, tri-doshaha. The text is super clear about this. No skin condition is caused by just one thing. Every single type of Kustha comes from an imbalance of all 3 of the doshas. Vata, which is movement, Pitta, which is metabolism, and Kapha, which is structure. The specific disease that you see just depends on which of these energies is the most out of whack.
But wait, the doshas are only 3 pieces of the puzzle. For a skin condition to actually show up, the text says a total of 7 essential factors all have to be disturbed at the same time.
And these 7 factors, this is where you really see the whole holistic picture. On top of the 3 doshas, the text says the skin itself, the blood, the muscle tissue, and the body's water or lymphatic system all have to be involved. I mean, this just brilliantly shows a core Ayurvedic belief. Your skin is not some isolated organ. Its health is completely tied to the quality of your blood, the health of your muscles, and the flow of your body's fluids.
So with that framework in mind, they built this incredibly detailed, systematic way of classifying these conditions. The Charak Samhita doesn't just say, oh, you have a skin problem. No, it meticulously identifies 18 distinct types.
So these 18 types are broken down into 2 main groups. First, you've got the 7 Mahakustha, or the major disorders. These are the heavy hitters. They tend to be more severe, go deeper into the body's tissues, and are, a lot tougher to treat. Then you have the 11 Shudra Kustha, the minor disorders, which are more on the surface and usually easier to manage.
And the descriptions in the text, oh man, they're amazing. They're not clinical, they're almost poetic. Get this one, for a major type called Rishajiva Kustha. It paints this incredibly vivid picture for the doctor, one that's both super precise and easy to remember. The tongue of a deer. Wow.
Now, compare that to the description for a minor type, Charmakias Kustha. It's just as vivid, right? But in a totally different way. Elephant skin. You immediately know the exact texture and thickness they're talking about. This level of observational detail is what makes this text so powerful.
Okay, so here's the most crucial part. Each of those 18 types is then defined by which dosha, or mix of doshas, is most dominant. This isn't just about putting things in neat little boxes for the sake of it. This is the absolute key that unlocks the entire treatment protocol.
All right, so we've seen how these conditions are diagnosed. Now let's get into how they're treated. And this is where the holistic nature of this whole system really shines. It goes way beyond just putting a cream on your skin.
The treatment is a perfect mirror of the diagnosis. It just makes so much sense. If a condition is dominated by vata, which is all about dryness, the first thing you do is use medicated ghee to calm that down. If it's a cough issue, which is about congestion, you use therapies to clear all that out. And for those fiery, inflammatory pitta conditions, the protocol calls for things like purgation and even bloodletting to literally cool the system down.
And that's really just the beginning. The text outlines this complete, multi-pronged attack. We're talking the full suite of panchakarma purification therapies, specific herbal formulas for both inside and out, super detailed dietary rules, and even special medicinal baths. It's a total system reboot.
And this is so important to grasp. The goal here isn't just to make a rash disappear. The text hammers this point home: repeated purification of the whole body.
The real aim is to fix the root cause, those 7 imbalanced factors we talked about, and restore deep, fundamental balance so the problem never ever comes back.
All right, in our final section, let's try to bridge the gap. How does this ancient system, with its unique way of seeing things, connect with our world today and with modern dermatology?
Well, scholars have found some really fascinating parallels. For instance, Kustha, which was described as looking like fish scales, lines up pretty well with a condition called ichthyosis. Or Kustha, the elevated circular patch, sounds an awful lot like what we call ringworm. It's like this incredible act of medical translation across thousands of years.
But the charak samhita doesn't just stop at the physical body. This is where it gets even more profound. For some conditions, it also points to causes that we might call metaphysical, linking our health directly to our actions and our ethics. Just listen to this direct quote about the cause of kilasa, which many scholars connect with vitiligo. The text lists things like being untruthful, being ungrateful, and disrespect as direct causes. Now, however you interpret that today, it just powerfully shows a worldview where physical health is seen as completely inseparable from your ethical and spiritual life.
And really, that brings us to our final thought. As we look back at this incredibly detailed, systematic, and deeply holistic approach to health, it leaves us with a pretty big question. In our age of super-specialized medicine, what can these ancient systems teach us about the profound connection between our actions, our world, and the ultimate state of our health? Thanks for joining me.